This is problem 4A from the option test 2012. It's a sequence question. You're defined with the sequence of 3n plus 2 over 2n minus 1. Now that's a rational expression. As a general rule, remember, if the power on the top is greater than or equal to the power on the bottom, usually it's easier to deal with a rational expression if you divide it out. So what I'm going to do is take 2n minus 1 and divide it into 3n plus 2. Well, 2 goes into 3 halves times. So 3 halves times 2n will give us 3n. 3 halves times negative 1 will give us minus 3 halves. And then you subtract. Remember, you're subtracting, so it's 2 subtract a negative 3 halves, which ends up being 7 halves. So to write this in the form with the result, the dividend, over the remainder, we write this sequence now as 3 halves plus the remainder, 7 halves, over the divisor, 2n minus 1. Right, now we're going to consider this sequence and try to figure out what it converges to as it goes to infinity as the number of terms. So what you can do, and so remember this is a calculator question, you can figure out the first few terms of this by subbing in 1, 2, 3, etc. for n, which I've already done. So u sub n starts off with 5 when n is equal to 1, and then you plug in 2 for n, you get 8 thirds or 2 2/3. And then the next term is 2 1/5, the next term is 2, and the next term is 1 7/9, and so on and so on. Now the reason I do that, you really don't have to do it, but it kind of gives you an idea what this sequence looks like. I can see, well, the numbers aren't too big, they're getting smaller and smaller. It does not appear to be approaching 0 as a limit. So let's go back to the expression that we just figured out by the division and look at that. And think, as n goes to infinity, what does that expression get closer and closer to? Well, you don't have to worry about the 3 halves. That's a constant. It's going to stay. The second part, the rational part, 7 halves over 2n minus 1, well, if you think about that, as n goes to infinity, this is our typical case where the denominator keeps getting larger and larger and larger, so we end up with 7 halves over an infinitely large number, and any constant over an infinitely large number is going to approach 0. So the whole expression, 3 halves plus the fraction, is going to tend towards 3 halves. So we'll say that L is equal to 3 halves, and part A is done.